Welcome to the Mission Driven Leader, presented by TaleoConnects.com, where we explore the new, unknown, and innovative themes for work and give people the ability to show up resilient every day. Here are your hosts, former Chief Knowledge Officer of NASA, Ed Hoffman, and partner and Vice President of Portfolio Management at Taleo, Laurel Sim.
Well, welcome to the Mission... Ed!
I know.
How did you show up here? How bizarre is that? To the Mission Driven Leader podcast. Usually we don't get to hang out
Usually
together.
we're not next to each other.
No.
I don't even know what you look like.
Yeah, it's nice to finally meet you. Yeah. You showered, I can tell, so that's good. So what is exciting about today, other than being able to sit beside you, is
Columbia University.
We're at Columbia University, people. Woo! Pretty awesome. Woo! Yeah. And what we are doing here is having our podcast with the Future of Work Master's Class.
Is there any way that we can see them, or no? We don't have to.
He just wants to always make it challenging for me. I don't really understand why you got to be so tough on me.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I've been listening all week to all the brilliant instructors to date, and we decided we should have the podcast here and allow the students to come up and share some opinions, give us some questions, and actively participate in what they've learned this week, because it's been amazing.
Absolutely. No, this is all new to me. I just woke up, so.
I know, your hair is kind of...
Oh, well, it's normal.
Yeah.
No, it's about the future of work, and you had this interesting idea to talk about the future from the standpoint of how do we learn, and you said, let's do a podcast. And I evidently said yes, so that's what we're doing. Yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah.
Do we have any questions right now, or should I move into our polling? Everybody's thinking about it, soaking. Okay, we'll move into the polling. So, let's see the questions already. If you knew it was your last day today, what would you want to do? Top 3 things.
What a depressing story. You mean last day as in death? Is that the question?
It's like, this is emotional stuff here. Well, I'd want to hang out with Ed, obviously. Maybe that's number 4. So you said 3 things.
3 things.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be one of my top things to hang with me, but yeah.
Yeah. I would say that I would. Oh, that's.
This
great.
Is your last day, so.
Yeah, this is my last day.
I want to be with my family.
I'd probably want to hang out with my people. I'd have a really big steaks. I own a farm, so I'd have this big juicy steak, and I would love every ounce of it. And probably have some wine like last night. Maybe just not as much. Oh, it doesn't matter because I'm not here tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. You can do it all. Yeah. No, I mean. Yeah.
And then I want to meet Ryan Reynolds. So
you're not going to meet Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
That is very aggressive.
Not the last day.
Maybe if he knew.
One of us has connections.
It's
this is happening right
true.
now.
Network.
Like, how many of you have went on a date with Ryan Reynolds?
Know Ryan Reynolds?
Sign me up.
Anybody knows somebody who knows? Yeah. No. It's not going to happen.
Stop it. Okay, what are your 3 things?
I told you I'd stay with my family. Diane, I got to get their names right. Diane, Dan, and Amanda. Started going blank for a second. With our dogs,
Oh yeah, I've got dogs too.
Poles and Aries.
Dogs. They're my people.
And I'd be thinking, why do I know this is my last day, and why do I want to know this? This is, But yeah, no, I mean, to me, it all comes down to, I think it's my line. It all comes down to people, and one of the most important people, then the people you love and your family.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd invite Jordan over for, 15, 20 minutes or so. Max. And, people. I'd spend time with the people that are most important.
People.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. First 3 things that come to mind when thinking about how to promote change and get buy-in on new ideas and innovations. Oh, that's a big one.
I'm a believer in slow change. Maybe this comes from working in government and NASA. The things that I found that really led to change is pretty much no one wants change when it starts. Even the people who sign up for it don't really want it. So to me, I think you have to, it's like maybe fine cooking, where you take your time. You let things simmer, you let things move around, you talk to people, you try to understand what's the problem, and you develop things. You have a commitment over time. I think patience is very important. So that's one of the things that comes to mind is, the ability to take time to be patient and have a time span. You think you can do this in the time that you have.
Yeah. Mine's similar, but a little bit different in that I really think about how people are impacted by change, and it's any kind of change. It's wearing more color in your wardrobe. It's walking down the street when you always took the car. It can be the most minor in nature of things, but if we're not paying attention to how it impacts that person, that community, or that area, you're going to fail, mm-hmm. and B, you kind of feel crappy about yourself because you think you've nailed it and you've got this great product, this great VR product, it's great, mm-hmm. And nobody's interested in it because you didn't realize that it makes everybody motion sick. But you were like, this is the sexiest thing going. How can you not love it?
And to be truthful, not everybody, just Zoe right now.
Oh yeah, just Zoe.
That was probably
all right.
okay.
Okay.
So I have to ask you, because you've been involved in so many things. You are really a leader in a lot of things internationally around projects and products and all that kind of stuff. What's the biggest change you had to deal with?
I would say the biggest change when we were trying to bring the Olympics to Calgary, that actually Italy got. And the biggest challenge that we had was convincing the country that this was a good idea, because they had just seen so many flops of other winter games that where they weren't using the assets after the fact, and that they spent all of this money and they put their country in debt and they weren't using what they should have been using after the fact, which would have created great cash flow for the country. And it was very impactful that we couldn't convince an entire country, let alone our city of Calgary, that this was a good idea. So we did a vote for all of the citizens of Calgary, and the vote for yes was 49, and the vote for no was 51. It was that split up.
Wait a second. You only have 100 people in Calgary?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe 120.
Okay.
So there's 20 didn't vote. And it was so impactful, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was and when we did our questionnaires and we were asking people why, it was like, well, the streets will be busier for those 2 weeks. What? I have to drive downtown and it's already a parking lot. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the Olympics. Yeah. So we couldn't solve the emotional change that impacted each individual, how it was going to impact their day. And that it was huge. It was huge.
I think that's one of the reasons why the Metro in DC doesn't go to Annapolis, because the people in Annapolis didn't want more crowds. So it's those kinds of things.
Yeah. I think we forget, so we didn't tell a good story about how we could fix those problems for them. We didn't tell a good enough story. It all comes back to, how are you going to tell the right story, the truthful story that's going to attach to each individual? And we didn't do it. We just didn't do it. So we lost.
And it's having the sponsor.
And now you get to go to Italy.
If you have a leader that has the backing,
yes,
then you can get things done.
Yeah.
I had years at NASA where I pretty much felt I could do anything because I was working for people who would support things, and there were other years where I knew it was going to be quiet. So I think that those kinds of concepts are important. That's a good. Did you anticipate being in your current position as a executive leader? Partner.
Well, I didn't expect to be sitting beside you. That's for sure.
We've established that already.
I always knew that I wanted to create change and help people move through things. And I think that's the biggest part of an advisor. You've got two brilliant advisors sitting over there, and that's what they do. They help organizations figure out how to move forward. And I always knew that as an individual.
Jordan?
Yeah.
Who else is the other brand? Christopher?
Chris.
Okay.
Yeah. Shame on you.
All right.
Yeah. I didn't say that, Chris. All the time. And you're such a tall lad. I don't know how that could happen. And so I do. I love helping people. Right. I love kind of helping that part of things. So I always saw it. I didn't think I would have the opportunity to be a leader within the project management community around the world. I didn't think that I would have those types of opportunities. It just so happens that, you know, when you're a chick that fights hard, you can do stuff, ladies, all of you. Yeah, right? All of you. And you boys too, not to be offensive. And then, do you believe in the power of manifestation? I believe that if it's important enough to me, like meeting Ryan Reynolds, not quite important enough to me right now, Ryan, but hey, if you get a divorce, I'm in. I think if you really believe in it, it's the opportunity. You can make it happen as long as it's something that's attainable. We were talking about goals yesterday.
What about things unrealistic?
Well, that's the point. You weren't even in class yesterday.
If you want to be an NBA basketball player,
well,
you're not going to be.
See, you weren't in the class yesterday. If you were in the class, you would understand about goals, right, Jordan? Yeah. They still have to be attainable. You might not get everything,
I don't know what
but
you're
it
saying.
still
I
has
know
to be something
Jordan wanted
attainable.
to be a Major League Baseball player, but he couldn't because his
biceps
something
were too
with his
big?
biceps
Yeah.
being
Too big.
So
too
it's
muscular.
sometimes genetics can jump into it. Keep it true.
Yeah, come on up.
Yeah, come on up.
Pull up a chair. Yes, we
Alrighty.
finally get somebody. Zoe.
Excellent.
Slide on in.
Zoe, you're our first.
All right.
I didn't know if
guest.
we could just like come
Yeah,
up or not.
just slide on in. Yeah, we can see you.
Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm a product manager at Blink Fitness, specifically on their mobile app, and I am in the IKNS program at Columbia. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can applaud that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I really like this whole question of manifestation because it's going to sound really nerdy, but during the pandemic, you started kind of thinking in like your inner thoughts and you're like, how do I comprehend things? How do I do this? And all over TikTok, it was like manifesting and doing this and doing, it was almost like a social like uptake of manifestation during the pandemic, which I found interesting. And part of it is, I think for me, manifestation is the wrong word. I think it's more so just looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, I'm going to accomplish this. And if you do it enough times, you will, because you start to believe it and you start to believe in the truth. So I guess that's kind of the foundation of manifestation. I just am a little bit skeptical of the whole like other entity influencing your path. Because I feel like at the end of the day, you're the one that's leading your path. Like, for example, we all decided to be in this program. We all decided to be in this class. It wasn't some other force.
How many people
saying,
did you
like,
tell that you were going to be in this class to? How many people did you say, you know what, I'm gonna go to Columbia and take my master's?
Now she's sold tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Right here.
Hi, guys. Well, for me, I guess, then it's kind of going to go against what I'm saying, because for me, I had always wanted to do my master's. But again, I always like looked at myself and I was like, okay, when the time is right, you're going to do your master's. So I guess maybe another entity kind of has a part in it, because I didn't start applying to a master's school until I got laid off from my second job. So like I was just like, at that moment, I was like, holy cow,
This is the time.
like this is when I'm supposed to do it. So I guess there is kind of that like entity, I guess, maybe, but I feel like actually doing what you want to do, it's yourself. It's coming from inner being. It's coming from people around you. It's you know, I was just telling to Cresia that since I've been doing this program, I've gained more confidence in myself at work and home, but that's because I'm taking all that I can from the program and then putting it out into the universe for myself.
It's telling the story. We talked about it earlier. It's telling your story and getting buy-in from others. They will start to repeat your story on your behalf, and then it helps it become real, right? And it's no different than creating your goals and making sure you have measurement so you don't let yourself down by not doing it, but you also push yourself just enough to reach Ryan Reynolds.
I'm telling you, along with Ryan Reynolds. You know, I think there's I think there's another thing that's there too. I think a lot of this probably has to do with you're surrounded by people who support you.
Exactly.
It's one of the benefits of a
100%.
program of a network, and they remind you of how good you are, and so that starts becoming more natural.
Exactly.
But
I do also think it's important to not let somebody who's going against you steer you from what you're trying to do either.
absolutely not.
So
Yeah.
that's just my 2 cents.
Excellent.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us in the hot seat.
So one of the things goes back to I'm not totally clear on the manifestations. I assume it's you have something that you visualize that you want, that you go for. So I'm a very big believer that we have a sense of where we want to be, where we want to go. I'm not a believer that what we think where we think we want to go is necessarily where we will go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes you should have that target, that dream, be clear, see it, go towards it, but be very comfortable with adapting and shifting. My career completely shifted a number of times. I never would have thought that I would be doing project management stuff for NASA. Never wanted to do it. But when the opportunity came up, it became one of the best gifts I've ever had. So it's the adaptive thing. And I also get, the notion, I dealt with a lot of folks, at different points early in their career who would say, what's your goal? I want to be the administrator of NASA. And I said, okay, but what else do you want to be? Because I was there 33 years, there were 5 people in that position. So, it's a numbers thing. So I think the ability to adapt, have a sense of what you want to do, why do you want to do it, or, those kinds of things.
Yeah, I think adaptability and being honest with what you're trying to achieve are pretty critical. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's probably also true. A lot of the guests that Laurel brings, I'm always amazed by, have a sporting background, and they have a different kind of but it's that sense of the importance of their grit, their commitment. But in just about all the cases, they have to shift, which is so amazing in terms of what they
pretty
do.
much all of them that I've had as the athletes that I bring on the show have all been impacted by injury.
Yeah.
And so what is their future
Serious
now?
injury.
Serious injury where they were the top of their game in their area and they had to step back. Those are big nuts to crack, and are we ever really ready for it? No. But we can be more ready if we're really honest with ourselves and we practice the honesty game every day. Do you practice it every day?
I don't know. To be honest, probably not.
Well,
No. Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you would give your younger self, Ed?
I just enjoy it. I tend to get very, I went to Columbia, went to NASA. So there were a lot of times that I was nervous. When I was a student here at the doctoral program, I was really miserable most of the time. I didn't know how I got into the program. I felt really unprepared. As I come I didn't enjoy it. I spent time really at Teachers College. I mean, we used to joke with my friends, I'm like in a Gothic haunted, location. But I should have enjoyed it. It was a good thing. And at NASA, I enjoyed it much more. But, when you're in a mission, when you're doing things, you're working, you're preparing, you're running, you got family, you have different things. And so you're going from one thing to the next. So I'd probably say, it'll be all right, whatever happens, just enjoy. And, don't overly be anxious about, tomorrow's outcomes.
Yeah. I have no problem enjoying.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were at the hockey game.
Yeah.
With you and your friends.
I had no problem
JoJo
enjoying.
and Sandy, the other night. Yeah.
What I would tell my younger self is don't take yourself so serious in the work environment. So I worked for, a large global consulting firm for a number of years, and they told me what to wear. They told me I had to straighten my hair. Yeah, wow. They told me my hair was too curly.
You told me that, so I still can't figure out that.
And I had like this brighter dress suit on, and they told me I couldn't wear that to that client's site because it wasn't professional enough. Yeah, it wasn't professional enough.
Wow.
And I couldn't grasp the things that they were asking of me other than they're smarter than me, right? Like they're the big organization. They're trying to make me into the better professional. So I got to up my game, I guess. And it wasn't until I left that I'm like, my game was good.
Yeah.
They were the problem.
Yeah.
And I did an RFP a year later with my own company and I beat them out. And I said, let your hair go curly once in a while.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So that's what I would tell myself is kind of be true to yourself, I think, and don't take life so seriously. Like it'll eat up your belly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. We were, one of the first things we did, or one of the things we did was the women's panel, which was kind of eye-opening to me in terms of really the amount of stuff that women have to deal with in the workplace. And we were talking about that, and then you talked about that scenario.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. And you know, I'm in a male-dominated industry, and project management, and technology. I think there was like three females in my class for computer science, like, and so really gross.
You should join us in the knowledge.
Yeah, well, I didn't get the invitation. And on top of it, my major clients were typically oil and gas companies, which were just built on dudes, right? Like, oh my gosh, it just didn't exist any other way. And I just had to decide that I'm going to see me the way they're going to see me. So that's how I have to show up every day. And it was a success. I cussed and swore a little bit just to fit in better, but you know. But not anymore. I never swear now. I'm such a little angel.
Truth.
Yeah, who wants to come in the hot seat? There's got to be somebody. So, Kaylin. Yeah, hi. Thanks for joining our hot seat.
Did everyone do the poll?
It looks like everybody did the poll, yes. And what we learned is pretty much everybody lives in the visual learning side of things. And then
Kinesthetic learning, right?
And then that's the blue one.
Yeah.
I probably need real glasses. These are fake. They're just got blue screen on them. There we go. Thank you. Yes,
I also
you.
can't read that.
Yeah. So isn't it interesting that we talked about it and we figured it out that those studies that I brought on the screen are real. It's very real, you know, in this group here. Why don't you tell me a little bit?
Yeah. So I was wondering. I'm also kinesthetic.
Yeah, it's a tough word. Yeah.
I'm also a learn by doing learner. And so I was wondering if you could walk us through like what your new software will look like for someone who's in more of a corporate environment where we're not focused on doing operation or getting shocked or falling off a giant pole. But you know, if my job is just to sit on Zoom meetings all day, what would this 3D reality look like for me? Or is the answer, oh, it wouldn't?
No, it's a great question. When you're sitting on Zoom meetings all day, you're trying to figure out how to interact with people. And so you're trying to read a person that you can only read through a little screen like our listeners right now. And so after this one on project management, our next one is going to be on diversity inclusion and how to engage with people. And it's all going to be about going out and having different things come at you and being able to respond as they're coming at you. So you can be more present and in the moment when you're on the Zoom meeting versus every day in and out, behaving the same way, showing up the same way. Why don't we get a bit more creative on those Zoom meetings? And that's what that one's going to be about. But our current one is you're going to build a bridge. So you're going to be walking through the jungle.
Never built a bridge before.
Never built a bridge. And you're picking up all of these different things, these different resources, people. You'll ask them to follow you, and
pick them up.
Yeah, just like throw them in the back. I don't actually maybe not.
Consent and support.
Yeah, and so you go and you finally get to the cliff, and you're like, oh my gosh, we need a bridge. Thank goodness I picked up all of these resources. But there's also resources that you don't need, like gold, because it's heavy in the bag and you can't carry it. And it ain't. It's never going to build the bridge for you, Ed. It's just not going to build the bridge.
I mean, if you had enough gold.
Well, then we'd have to. Yeah, that would be a lot. Yeah. But that's the whole point, is that you're going through and you're trying to create these experiences. But for the Zoom meeting, it's about how to be present in the moment, create engagement, and so you're walking through life and different things are coming at you. How are you going to respond to it? And there is no right answer. There is no wrong answer. But you'll see behavioral changes by what you do that causes the animal to act differently, the cabbie driver to respond differently. So that's what the next one's going to be.
Great.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
So you're taking Taleo in that direction of kinesthetic learning.
I am. Yeah, I'm very excited.
That's a major, because not too many organizations do that.
Yeah.
You mentioned most learning is still very traditional.
It's a major service shift for us as well. And in fact,
and what's the risk?
Maybe the risk of not doing it. What's the risk? Like just living in the world of what I deliver day in, day out.
Because you're successful now.
I'm planning to retire if I didn't do this. No, I was planning to retire if I didn't do this. Yeah, because I'm like, I've kind of hit what I needed to hit. And now I'm like creating a whole new opportunity that is exciting and innovative and giving people an opportunity to think differently. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, round of applause for
Yeah, so have you ever used VR to learn and create new skills and capabilities? And it's so far it's showing up as a hot no. Have you?
No.
Well, you've never even used one. I showed you today.
I have used it with another company that was demonstrating it, but it was a demo, it was a prototype kind of thing to see how to do it. So it wasn't for learning. My experience, and I think this is probably an age kind of a thing, is I found it really difficult because I was also getting kind of head sick of the movements.
But you got a hole-in-one in the mini golf.
Yeah, no, this was different. Well, this was actually, it's an interesting thing. The one that I was learning at a different prototype was geared towards planning a project and date and all those things. This was geared towards being in this cool environment and greenery and water and golfing. And so that was fun.
Yeah, makes you want to have a beer.
Yeah, so when you're having fun, you know, it's different.
So do we have anybody else that wants to come in our hot seat? I just can't believe it. All of you guys were so curious earlier in the week, and now
they're protecting their IP.
I have another question.
Yes.
I don't know if it's podcast appropriate.
Oh yeah, it always is.
Okay.
We talk about everything on here.
How do you deal with your company, Taleo, versus Oracle's Taleo, the job?
Oh yeah.
Because when I saw your name originally, I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing, and then I was like, this can't be right. This isn't the right one, the right Taleo.
Yeah, we're Taleo Project Services versus Oracle Taleo. They have an HR product that they sell, and they're not us.
But does that cause issues? Because the names are spelled the same.
Yeah, no, I haven't come across it too much. I was at one conference and they apparently didn't read my profile and then created me a profile and it said that I worked for Oracle. So that
You're
was
a senior vice president.
Yeah, that was awkward. Right. That was awkward. I said, sorry, you got the wrong person. Am I still allowed to talk here? Yeah, it's pretty good.
Any questions for Laurel in terms of her journey, project management, technology, and that to me, I didn't even know this, but you're shifting, which excites me to learning, which I think is a key driver for everything, and the mixture of technology to help that is really exciting. So will that be like 90% of your time or 50%, or how does that? Because you have existing things as a leader.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a workaholic, so boundaries don't seem to be an issue for me. But I spent a lot of this year helping to build this VR game. And I think we're just creating the best sauce for how to build them going forward, where you don't have to use me all of the time on the team. Yeah. And I just become more of a product owner versus a product manager. And I still do a lot of advisory services. Like we were talking about brand yesterday and how important brand is. And I can't tell you enough that your brand is critical to your success in your personal life, your professional life. It's your reputation. It's how people see you, how people perceive you, right? People think I'm an extrovert and I'm actually an introvert, just in case you're curious.
I don't believe that.
I know. See? He just doesn't believe it.
I've never seen one instance where you've been.
But I'm going to be exhausted now today. They're just stealing all my mojo now.
That's the wine.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably the wine.
Yeah.
But I have this brand and I have this reputation, and Taleo also is dependent on my success. Yeah. So I have to continue, and I enjoy it. I have great clients, and I fire the ones that I don't like. Right? We've had that talk. That I go out and I do these advisory services, and I continue to build our practice. it's just figuring out how to make sure that I'm creating a better balance between this new area that gets me up in the morning and the old area that I've never lost love for.
And so what is, and I'm interested because you're an entrepreneur as much as anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're taking, as I see risks and all that kind of stuff. What is your kind of vision for how much work Taleo will be doing in this kinesthetic learning virtual reality space? Is like 10% would be good, or 30%? Do you have, I'm wondering if at this point you have a vision for in 5 years, this is what we're going to be doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, each of our products, the project management product is set up that if you take the course, you can then write your CAPM, which is the initial kickoff in project management. And I want, so for each product, I have goals.
Okay.
Right. So I want that to be global within 24 months. So I want it to be around the world.
Right.
And then this new one that I'm talking about, I hope nobody steals my idea.
Of course they're going to. We're doing a podcast. Everyone's going to hear this thing.
That didn't make sense at all. Yeah. I'm just joking. That would be a terrible idea. And we're going to do this diversity and inclusion. Not only is it a hot topic right now, but I don't think it's going to end anytime soon until we all evolve in our thinking and our behaviors. And that's probably another, 20 years because people have already learned what they've learned. So that one, again, I don't know if I can take it global quite as easily, but I would love it to become like a household name in large corporations.
So you got a goal.
Yeah.
You got something
there. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just floundering because I get distracted easily. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Questions for Laurel? I mean, well, we have Laurel.
I think I can't believe nobody wants to sit in the hot seat. Like, look at it. It even rolls. The chair rolls.
They're not extroverted like you.
Oh, Ed took the blue spot.
Oh,
that was kind of.
We can change that around. There you go.
Now who wants the hot seat? Nobody?
No, that is hot.
Okay, well, I thought it would work. Sorry.
Yeah,
that's okay.
It's a good goal.
Yeah, it was good.
End up on the other side.
Well, and this is coming up to when we usually finish up on the podcast. So normally we ask our guests what their superpower is and how they water it on a regular basis. So Ed,
ask them that question. You know my superpower.
What is your superpower?
I forgot already.
Connecting people.
Connecting, yeah. Connection, people, being around. I always surround myself with people who are far better than myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how do you water it? How do you?
Just be appreciative, thankful, have a good time, have fun, go to hockey games every once in a while.
Yeah.
Just
go Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does anybody want to share what their superpower is? Have you ever thought about it for yourself? That's your brand. Yes, please. Curiosity.
Curiosity, that's a good one.
Creating space for being curious is the most innovative, the way to be innovative that you possibly can be, right? Allowing your thoughts to like take seed is really, it's a really special talent.
Yeah.
Just one question. Tell me more about that. Tell me more about that. Like,
yes. If you can't hear it, it's talking about tell me more about that, and just like allowing the conversation to extend on an ongoing basis. And the nice thing about that is people are going to want to have another conversation with you again because they're going to remember that experience. They're going to remember that their thoughts mattered to you, and that you created space for them to share. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Anybody else? This is your brand, people. We're having a branding class right now. Go, Zoe.
Mine's a little silly.
That's
but,
okay.
I don't know how to title it as a superpower, but I was talking to Eva and Carrie about this actually yesterday. How I give off like golden retriever energy.
Yeah.
And I used to like think of it not as a weakness. It was more of just like a do I want that? Like, is that what I want myself to
responsibility?
be?
Yeah.
And for me, as I've gotten older, I've actually kind of settled with it and have encouraged myself to just be who I'm gonna be because I have this like golden retriever energy. Like Crazy is coming to talk to me. Clementina is coming to talk to me. Like people come and talk to me, and through that, I get to talk to them about their experience.
future
I
is a
feel
golden
like-
retriever.
Yes, like I
Yes,
just
you're
feel
very
like-
charismatic, right?
Yeah,
like,
like,
and you bring that energy to allow other people to feel really comfortable. That's something that you just have. You can't create that. You just have it. Yeah, awesome. One last superpower.
All right,
One last one. Yes.
there you go.
So I didn't think of it before, but when you asked then I thought maybe visionary and grit. I do get a lot from other people that I work with, even my own employer. They would say my achievement is so up there that they didn't even think of it themselves. And seeing how I really put effort into trying to get what I manifest. So actually, I asked that question earlier because I'm so much into manifestation. But it's true, manifestation is just a vision.
Yeah.
But for me, as long as you see the vision and you work for the vision, you will achieve it anyhow because you see it and you work for it.
Yeah.
So I think,
Yeah. So you just did your profile for LinkedIn. Right? And you did your profile for LinkedIn, and you did your profile for this is all a core part of you, and that's why the brand is so important. And if you can't find what your superpower is, ask a friend, ask a work colleague. What do you think my superpower is? Because that becomes a piece of you to tell your story ongoing.
Organizations
so
are using that more and more.
yeah.
What's the core superpower
Yeah.
of Apple? What's the
Yeah.
So they drive things and then they reinforce that in terms of what kind of people do you look for? Maybe final question, because I know we're coming to the segment, but when you're hiring as a senior executive, how do I get hired by your company? What do I do? Who am I? What are the things you look for? Maybe what don't you want?
I don't look for technical skills because I think that
That's why we work so well together.
No, I believe that anybody can learn technical capability, right? If you've got a good instructor, sorry about your instructor for the week, but if you have a good instructor, you can really.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't mean you.
Oh, okay.
If you have a good instructor, you can learn any skill or capability.
Yeah.
It's the soft skills.
The intangibles.
Oh my gosh. And I know a lot of people say, yeah, sure, Laurel, but my resume didn't even get reviewed because I didn't have that technical skill. So you have to have a component, I guess, like maybe
You have to have a
25.
baseline, right?
You have to have
Yeah.
something small. But if I met you at like a PMI event and your charisma was
Maybe not know
showing
what
through.
PMI is.
Yeah, you've talked about it 38
Do I?
times this week.
Does anybody not know what PMI is? Or okay,
See there. Yeah.
all right.
But if I met you and your charisma, I would ask you for your business card after. I would be like, you know what? One day I'm going to hire this lady because people will enjoy being around her.
Right.
I'm going to hire her as my innovation leader because she likes to create space for curiosity. Those are important things. And that's why I think that's
Karen.
it. Yeah.
You made an impression.
It's recorded.
So
Yeah,
it's-
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's on record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to come to
A lot
Canada.
of pressure for your management where you work. Yeah.
Just come to Canada. Yeah. And so those things you can't teach that. Yeah, you can create opportunities where they can grow a little bit in it, but if it's not natural, you can only nurture it so far. So that would
Very
be
good.
me. Yeah.
So in summary, the future of learning is engaged, it's kinesthetic, it's about manifestation, it's about possibilities, it's about curiosity, it's about going towards the direction that you want. It's navigating the future.
It really
But
is
where you
navigating
need to
the
be.
future and having your eyes open
Yeah.
to what it's gonna
Yeah.
bring. Yeah.
And the connection between technology and people. I think you demonstrated that.
I think we nailed it
So,
today.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody want to go back and work with Taleo
Does
back in
anybody want to
Canada?
come to Canada? Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Wow, got a lot of
I like it. I like it.
surprisingly large.
I do have a
numbers.
small base in Houston as well, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough for
This is
letting me
great.
be here in Columbia in your class. Thank you guys so much.
Let's give Laurel Sim a call.
Good day. And until next time,
Thank you, Mia.
we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Mission Driven Leader podcast presented by TaleoConnects.com. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review wherever you listen to the show.